on the Rights of the Child is the whole element of the importance of play. And the International Children's Right to Play, an organization that has near and dear to my heart in terms of the work that I've done before, was very much a part of that, crafting of that dialogue. But it still comes back to this humanity. And you also heard this notion of the experience, the powerful experience all of us have had, especially as people who are of color, who are black, who have lived from a segregated, mutated now, desegregated, now mutated South, and now we're living here in the Midwest. And so what we have to understand is that there is always this dichotomy between the lighter brother and the darker brother that we have to overcome. That's the great divide. So the achievement gap is much more than just about whether or not we can learn. We've proven that over time and time and time again. It really is about people decloaking and, as Bell Hooks says, releasing the tentacles of that colonized mind that has entrapped the consciousness of all of us, especially in this country, to free ourselves from that so that we can accept and receive something more powerful than what we can imagine. Now, thinking about reciprocity, interaction. All of you have things on your mind that you would like to ask panelists. So this is our opportunity to accept questions and to pose them to any member of the panel if you like, or to all of them.
Just going off of your comment about teachers and social workers, could all of you address that? What your perspective is, and what advice you would give to us?
Okay, I'll start. I'm going to quote Sister Sandra Craig, which is focused at St. Thomas University about a month and a half ago. It was asked, what do you do when you have students in the classroom and they're very disruptive? Her first comment was, first, you must understand that there are no problem children. There are children with problems. Second, you reward those who do it right, and soon the others will want to. And more importantly, once they come to engage, it's kind of like the cultural game we were playing today, you have to not put them in a position where they're embarrassed. And so there's where your work really begins with the skill sets that you have. One side note, achievement gap, I do concur as a manufactured concept that is a divide concept on inferiority versus superiority. We know that kids that start first grade, ready for first grade, are not 2 years behind when they get to third grade, and they go right through the system quite well. So the real answer, I think, to this issue is we do need to have instructors that can penetrate the culture that's in front of them. It's not just race now, it's economics. And it can be different from one segment of the community to another segment. And what's actually going on in the lives of the children on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis.
And I would like to say, I think for saying cultural workers is a little different than social workers. Because I think culture is complex and you often have this cultural dissonance. And as the professor said, inside of every teacher is a person, I say. And when I came out of teacher ed, they used to say, don't smile until Christmas, and they had all these things but the point is, how you feel as a person. If you have trouble dealing with conflict in your life, ask yourself, how do I deal with conflict? What was I taught about dealing with conflict? In your family, did they talk about conflict or did they avoid it? Were you taught not to show anger or to show anger? So you've been taught invisibly. So in the classroom, when you have conflict, that person is still there inside the teacher. And that plays a part. So that's the importance of knowing your own story history and working on it in addition to not working it out on the kids. So I would say you have to respect the culture that comes to you in the classroom. Now I'm at Broadway, which is alternative school for teen moms. So everybody there is either a teen mom with 1, 2, or 3 children. And 40 Right now, we have 190. 48 are classified as homeless, which means they're either in a shelter or they're doing couch to couch, 2 days at a time, 4 days. They don't necessarily see that as homeless, being in people's couches, but that is a classification to get a handle on it. And so I often say to them, given what many of you have gone through, from abandonment to physical abuse to just trying to make ends meet on a day-to-day basis, I don't know if I'd still be standing, And I can't tell you shouldn't be mad, you shouldn't be frustrated, but I can say the way you respond to that frustration matters, And so many of them say to me, well, I have anger management problems. I'm new there this year. I taught there in 2006, 2007, and then I applied for the coordinator position and I came back this year. And I was like, well, it's wonderful that you know you have an anger problem. But identification is the first step to address it, not just to identify. So what are we going to do? Because this is not going to work. You can't be snapping on people. So part of it do I think it's wonderful that they're teen moms? Our teen moms are 13 to 21. Actually, because we're an alternative school, we have an erratic educational pattern. So we have some who had children when they were 15, went out of school for 2 years, came back and forth, and now they decided to try again. So, but the point is, I have to meet them where they are. Who made me God, as they used to say, when I was growing up. So, and I think they can tell that I like them as people, And I often say to them, I don't really have a relationship with you yet, because I think it takes a while to have a relationship with people. But I think they can tell through my interactions with them, and that I have expectations and this boundary. They can, why do you use that word all the time? I was like, because you have a problem with boundaries. What does that mean? Like, why are you at my desk without my permission? But that's in the culture, I'm like, why are you wearing pajamas to school? These are pajamas, it's day wear if you don't sleep in it. No, it's pajamas. Okay? It's a slip dress. No, it's a slip. Okay? So again, I think one of the things you have to do as a teacher is to let them know what they don't know. And also as a teacher to be aware that the most difficult thing for all of us is to identify what we don't know. So it's easy to say, I know this, I know that, or I don't know this, I don't know that. But the difficulty, the struggle is that you don't know. So I learned a lot from them, But there is a norm that they need to know. And this is what I'm saying about you become a cultural bridge. Now, I was the first teacher of color in Hopkins, Minnesota. So I do not believe that you have to be the color of the students that sit before you, else I would not have taken that job. Okay? But they learned things from me that they needed to know. Because most of them had never met a person of color. Didn't live by them, didn't play with them, and Cosby wasn't on TV yet. So for me, when I worked in Hopkins, I had to make a shift in my head. When they asked me certain things, I would answer them because I'm their teacher. But I would say to them, don't ask black people this on the street. Because I have to point it out to them because they think, oh, you do it. If I'm going to ask any black person, they're going to do it. No. But then I could say to my white colleagues as teachers, I'd answer some things and I said, well, you need to do a little work on your own. Because you are an adult. So you have a responsibility. My children, my students are a different thing. So I think really this cultural piece is always at play, and economic piece, because my students are often amazed. They think I grew up in suburbia. So they're amazed when I taught English and did a Raisin in the Sun. And I was like, well, this is my life. They're like, you're joking, right? No. Or in Minnesota, actually, many students who look like me are biracial. So they often